Survival games are many things to many people. Some, like the chaos of combat, exploring the highest peaks and the lowest depths, or building divine monuments that will make gods weep, while others, well, simple folk. This is Enshrouded, an open-world survival RPG from Keen Games that drops players into the realm of Embervale, a land corrupted and mutated by the Shroud, and lets you choose how you want to shape your destiny. Whether you want to set off into the world and explore, or stay in the warm safety of the flame and build a home. Enshrouded is one of those something for everyone style survival games. A category that isn't exactly in short supply and has some pretty heavy hitters contained within. So the question then becomes, can Enshrouded stand above the average, or will it simply fall into the shroud of mediocrity? The core of the game is there, fun to engage with, and honestly is something that can keep you coming back to the game over time. But that early access tag that survival games come with these days hangs over it like a looming shadow. Some use it to polish and buff the edges, refining their game down to its final form, and some just wear it forever as an excuse for the issues held within. Let's get the negatives out of the way before we move on to discuss the core loop. Enshrouded, for me, very much sits in that same little bucket of frustration as Grounded, Valheim, or even Subnautica. A group of games that, while playing them and enjoying the time I'm spending in them, I know that if I held off, if I just waited, I'd be playing a better version of them later in development. And when you risk burning out on a survival game, or never coming back to it just because of how many other titles are being released these days, that's an important factor to consider. When is the right time to jump into an early access title, if at all? Should you wait for release? Can you wait? It's a personal choice situation. And for me, Enshrouded sits in that grouping of, yes, it's currently good, but I know it'll be better with time. Like wine, cheese, or Keanu Reeves. There's design choices and frustrations that will see polish and refinement or additional content added. That's what that early access window is for. Aspects like the way quests work needs to change, as currently, if you're playing with a lone wolf type of friend, they could clear the quests while you're asleep or at work, which can lead to confusion about what items you've unlocked or what quests you're currently on. And that's before you even start to consider the chaos of playing on a more public or community server. The first interactions with the crafting system can show an early game frustration in plain sight. One of the quest NPCs that you can unlock gives you the ability to craft magical chests, which allows the standard mechanic of items within can be used during crafting. Before that point though, as a new player interacting with the crafting system, you'll be trying to memorize which items you need with a pin system that hides the recipe while you're in a chest. Not exactly very helpful. Crafting systems can make or break a game like Enshrouded, and features like building from storage or Grounded's fantastic quick store button to deposit all items into nearby chests are elegant, streamlined solutions to crafting management. While from a world perspective, unlocking magical chests is great, unless you focus on quests to get that NPC, you might end up falling off the game before you get that far, or you're never told it's something that's in your future, so that knowledge is hidden behind a guide, a top 10 things I wish I knew before I started playing Enshrouded video, or this. Hi. The world is a mixed aspect as well. There's puzzles and exploration which are a delight to engage with, and you can feel smart when you subvert how they work, but it's hindered by a lack of excitement in certain areas of the world. And a disappointingly weak AI system just compounds that. In a game that touts punishing bosses and heart-pounding action combat on their store page, you might be invoking expectations of a combat system similar to Dark Souls or Lords of the Fallen. Yes, there is a parry system and stamina to manage, and you do have skills, but that subpar AI leaves you with an outdated experience that's more akin to Gothic or Fable. The Enshrouded system itself should be something that raises the game up, but instead just ends up weighing it down. Areas of the map are enshrouded, corrupting the area around it, which is a great idea. Venturing into an enshrouded area places a timer on your screen. It gives an implication of caution and wariness, but this feeling only lasts on your first adventure into the Shroud. The timer can be reset fairly easily. The monsters within the Shroud aren't any more or less dangerous than those outside, but hopefully as development progresses, the Enshroud system can receive improvements. You could add debuffs to it, or just tweak the way that the pressure of it works on the player to maximize risk versus reward. Look, that's not to say that there isn't already currently an enjoyable time to be had in Enshrouded. It may seem like I'm focusing on the negatives, but there are positives here, and they are strong positives. Movement is fantastic. I could spend an entire article just discussing how I wish more games had a faster movement system like Enshrouded, which, when you combine that movement with the squirrel suit glider, it just makes traveling around the world a delight. I even like the limitation of not being able to Zelda climb my way around the environment. Although current techniques that you can employ with the squirrel suit and the double jump do allow you to bypass such meaningless issues as cliffs and gravity. The building system is another area that just comes out swinging, allowing you to build opulent towers of glory befitting your skill and prowess. It was simple to understand, it has all the depth needed already, and we're only in the first week of early access. That's a system which shows real potential for the future in both regards to not only what they can offer with it, but what players can think of creating. And then there's the digging. Oh, the digging. If there is one way to get straight to my heart when it comes to video games, it's to implement a mining system that's enjoyable. And Enshrouded has that in spades, buckets, wheelbarrows, Caterpillar 350 excavators. I have spent hours in this game already just mining entire cliff faces while the rest of my adventuring party gets annoyed and walks off to explore. There's just something so satisfying about the terrain destruction, the noise, the lack of a weight system that means that I can just keep at it until all the pickaxes I'm carrying break. If I had to pick any aspect of Enshrouded to put above the rest, for me, it would be the mining. So where does that all leave us? Well, Enshrouded is no slouch. It's an early access title that shows it's determined to hang with the best of them, and even the weaker aspects in its current state don't detract from the enjoyment you can have exploring a world that makes the core loop of traversal, mining, building a delight to engage with. The key takeaway is with all early access titles is, how does Keen Games support it now that it's launched? Valheim suffered from a stagnant update cycle, and while it's still popular, it lost a good amount of its momentum, and it would be a shame to see a game with such potential as Enshrouded fall to the same fate. Yes, the AI needs a bit more time to cook, the world itself needs a bit more added here and there, and those rough edges need polishing down, but there's a great game hiding under those issues, with a stellar mining system being backed up by some really smart design choices handling traversal and building, and Keen Games have already said that they're listening to feedback regarding the way that quests work. It would be understandable if you're not rushing out to buy Enshrouded. 2 survival games came out in the same week, and one of them is breaking records. But if you don't pick it up, I'd recommend adding Enshrouded to your wishlist so it doesn't get lost in the shuffle. It truly is one of those games that can only get better with time. Sooner or later, everyone craves a survival game to escape to, and Enshrouded can sit happily up the top end of that list.